It's time for his pro debut at 17 years of age. Jaden Billingham takes on the former world champion, John Rowe. About to get the first glimpse of that hammer break that we spoke about with John Rowe. It is one of the biggest in the sport, and it's exhibited pretty well there, and yet it is dry. It's almost so hot that it set the smoke alarm off, I think, in players. But nothing down the holes for John, and it's going to give Jaden the first poke at this match. And do you know what? I was really impressed. It's the first time I've got to spend any sort of proper time having a good chat with Jaden Billingham, and I was very impressed by, well, this will make me feel old, what a level-headed young man he is. He comes across very well. You know, there's no outward brashness or hubris with him. He's a very humble young man, but when he's at the table, different animal unlocked, and he's not here to care for reputations or names. He's coming for him.
Yeah, I completely agree. It is going to be fascinating, not necessarily just tonight, but how he goes about the season. The ebbs and flows, the ups and downs, and all that sort of stuff. That's a huge part that needs to be learned. But everywhere he goes and everything he plays in, he does so well at that. I do expect him to have some success this year.
Record last year, you'd be hard pushed to have a better year as a player. Really feel like he won pretty much everything he was in, and he's of that age as well, 17, where he's got that real youthful enthusiasm for the game. He's playing in absolutely everything. He's never off the table. All right, there's a lovely shot to set him up to win frame number one here.
Actually played it so well that he's got straighter on this red than he would have liked. It would have been better if he could have come across the table without coming down the table, if that makes sense, so that the cue ball would have just tracked on a kind of even level kind of line, rather than that little bit of running side he put on that tracked it down the table. It's just going to put pressure onto his next shot. That pressure has shown. He tried to really force it. Cue ball's a foot higher here, you can float it in, probably not even a foot, maybe even just 6 inches. You float it in and you land behind the awkward red in the middle of the table, or the one at the top with natural, or natural with a tracer side anyway. Interesting to see where John's at on the table, and he sounded a little bit down in his interview and always looks a little bit grumpy out in the arena. That's his sort of standard MO, but that's whether he plays well or not.
Yeah, he's actually a pretty happy-go-lucky guy, I think John Rowe, but you wouldn't necessarily know that if all you saw of him was his demeanour around the table. Often looks like he's just woken up on the wrong side of bed, is often how I describe John's table manner.
He's just trying to work out these two yellows nearest the right centre. They're just awkward. I think you can get to the potting angle of the top one, but in doing so, I don't think you can avoid the other one. You're going to get a cannon that's thin. Interesting to see if he does feel like he can just do it in a clean way. If that was the plan, then he would like to have been straighter, if not past the straight, on this yellow to top left-hand corner. Find out if he can avoid the yellow. I don't think he can, and I think the cannon isn't likely to be a good one for him. Well controlled. So he was getting a little bit more of that yellow than I thought he could. If he gets it caught a ball, he flicks it on the cushion, and the cue ball comes down the other side of the 8 ball. That was a really well controlled shot. Still doesn't get the out.
Yeah, we often hear how these tables play big, but they don't play that big.
I'm not sure if it would have made any difference because he landed on it as well as he could, but I was a little bit surprised to see him play that shot but play it late. Whereas if he plays that shot, say second shot, then he's got other options up the table. If he doesn't quite like the angle, he's left himself down the table. He could always use the ones at the top to get better position onto the yellow that he eventually missed. Maybe in hindsight, would he have gone differently, or would he just look at that and go, well, I did everything I wanted to do, but missed a tricky-ish ball. Certainly cost him the frame. Jaden mops up a fairly routine second chance. It's not a bad CV that for someone that's only 17 years.
It's astonishing, and all of that there happened last year.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was really interesting actually. In particular, when I asked him about, you know, did you expect to have this so soon? And he's sensible enough to know that he's good. He's sort of aware of the fact that he's capable. But when he says, you know, I talked about it with my dad and a few friends, and we sort of thought around about 19, 20 will be the time where I'm able to take the step up. But this isn't like he's been handed a wild card because he's some up-and-comer who's got loads of talent. He's completely here on merit. He was very, very nearly, I mean, a hair away from being the #1 ranked player on the Challenger Series last year. And for anyone who doesn't know, the Challenger Series is an absolute shark tank. There's so many fabulous players littered around that tour. And this 17-year-old kid from Blackheath just rocks up and does that. It's incredible.
Yeah, and that he wants to now just play like he's still playing in all the events that he's been dominating. It doesn't matter who's on the other side of the table. We talked about it in the opening match. You know, you can play who's on the other side of the table shouldn't matter. You just got to take your chances when they come along, and he is so good at that. Just got to be careful. Ideally, either straight or I'd say very thin clip on the yellow, so that you're not risking going near the 8 ball. He can go both ways here. He's actually could probably pinch the pocket or screw it straight back. He uses the cushion, so he was fine. Just had to be careful with it.
That right there is an excellent start from Jaden Billingham. Already 2 frames up. And that former world champion.
And that's what good players do, don't they? That wasn't, you know, a mistake from John. He should have won the opening frame, punished by the counter, and then doubly punished by the breaking clearance. But not just the breaking clearance, and it looked a certainty from every single shot he played. From the very first shot, the break, he never looked like he was going to do anything other than make the clearance. So John would have sat in his chair through the whole thing thinking, okay, so I'm 2-0 down. You know, he really stamped himself on the match here with that punishment of the John error. Nearly gets a golden break, but then gets nothing. Didn't quite square that one up, so his big break hasn't started yet. This is where I get interested for Jaden. When there's problems to solve, when there's a puzzle to be really worked out. The last one, obviously a good break, didn't have to do any developing work, it was just about putting him in a good order, which he did. This time round there is developing work. It's a case of how does he go about it. The answer to that is probably not very well. He's on nothing. He's come an awful lot further down the table than he was planning. Assuming he was playing for either red right centre to develop the red and yellow together furthest up the table, or possibly the one, not the one he's next to, but the one above that. He lands slightly low on that, he can play the cannon there as well. Came far too far down the tables. Chance goes. John could have hit that a little bit firmer on that line. He could have got the yellow out, but I think he's just comfortable enough with the double. He isn't.
I'm surprised to see that.
Yeah, and that's just opened it up for Jaden. The one problem Jaden had is now fully open, and great chance to make it 3-0.
Start. This would be a statement for the young man.
Not sure he's on the ball he wanted to be. Be surprised if this was the one he was playing for, or if he was playing for it a little bit straighter. Maybe he was playing for it, because if he gets on the one which I thought he would have been playing on, which is the sort of bottom one of the 4 that are left, and that's not a great angle, whereas playing on the one he's just got rid of, that gets him onto the controllable plant, which opens up everything. So I do think he probably, I'm shocked he didn't just play the plant. If he plays the plant, he's out. There's no more work to be done. That's a very strange shot, but obviously to make the error on the back of it. I suppose if it goes and he drops it in, he's got the red the other way, and it's easy as well. So you can't argue the decision, just the execution.
Yeah, he just feathered the red before it, didn't he? Which took the pot then offline. Might not have been on, essentially. Loose bit of judgment from Jaden.
Yeah, ball he played, actually, when you see it on the replay, it is actually the perfect ball to take, assuming he was on it. But he got it wrong, just what John needed, but I'm not sure John's played the best of a couple of shots. It's hard to get on this yellow. Is he straight enough to just screw round behind it?
Oh, that's very good.
Brilliant. Killed that cue ball. Made that look easy.
Yeah, that wasn't a simple shot from John Rowe, but he made it look it. Drops the 8 ball in, and he gets his first frame in 2025. Don't worry too much about the hangdog expression. That is John Rowe to a T. Take a look at his achievements, which are pretty solid in their own right. He's ranked 22nd in the Ultimate Pool Pro Series. He is the 2011 World Champion, as well as a former National Amateur Champion too. Done some great things in the game as John Rowe. Super player. I actually think in a lot of ways is the way he sees the game, and his patterns and his judgment, etc, can be a little bit underrated. He's been around for such a long time. I think he sees the game brilliantly. I think he'd be the first to admit that sometimes, every now and then, just lets his, whether it's concentration or something, drift, and he can make errors that really annoy him. The vision of the game's absolutely there.
Yeah, I agree. He's we spent time with him on the commentary box. He's a very good player, thinks about the game and sees the game really well. Right now, though, he's getting out-broke by Jaden with the cut break, which will certainly irritate John. Yes. 2 breaks from Jaden have been very good. He did break clear the last one. He's in position to do the same thing again here, although not. Unless this yellow goes, does it go? He's playing it. It's just quite a lot of angle. Yellow nearest the 8 ball. He could take that now. But the cue ball's going on a slightly awkward path, unless he feels he can get on the one he's nearest to into the right centre off it. Might be too thin. I think he can pop the other one in the middle of the table as well, so work himself back into a better position for it all. On the 8 ball, if it didn't go into the corner before, it certainly does now. A little thin clip. A little delicate, this one. Might have to play it with a bit side as well, just to straighten the cue ball up off the cushion. Played that beautifully. It's another really good out to solve a couple of issues, but very good.
He looks the part so far, doesn't he?
Made a bad mistake in the previous frame, not winning it, and just forgets about that, just straight back on it, puts together another break clearance. Impressive start. Stephen, you gave John the big build-up on the break, and I agree with you, but so far he's 2 for 2 dry. I'd say neither were his absolute flushed best. Both got the cue ball wrong on both of them, but there's still so much power. Gets the cue ball wrong again.
Yeah, it's a ball though.
Doesn't get a chance, I don't think. If he can pop the red in the middle of the table or take it all back. Well, he's down quickly, so he can. 2 reds at the top are a comfortable plant, so he doesn't have to play short position. So good chance this for his first break clearance. A little short. I think he'd like to have been straight, and then he could have just sort of pulled it back a few inches to take the one bottom right. You play a cannon, the one at the bottom of the table. Yellow now plays quite big. I play straight in on it. Now might have to play the one along the bottom cushion. Delicate shot if he has to. Plays for the plant instead. He turned this down earlier on in the visit. Might be enough this time round. Oh, that's a poor shot. That's a really poor shot from John. That was rushed. He felt like the frame was over now, just run through it and make it as quick as possible, and then forgot about the fact you've still got to play position onto the 8 ball.
Yeah. Big shot required here to stay alive. Doesn't get it. Well, well, well.
And there was time there. You know, if he gets the cue ball up and he makes it, there's still, what, 2:20 left on the clock, probably even maybe a few seconds more than that, because he wouldn't have taken as much time on the shot, so maybe 2.5 minutes. Okay, it would have been Jaden's break, but the pressure would have been on him. Now he's just can free up, really. 2 in front, 2 minutes to play, and control of the frame. Foul, but it doesn't really help him. I suppose it gives him a little bit of hope, because there's not a a guaranteed shot out there for Jaden.
Yeah, he's just got to gradually chip away at this. But he's got to do it in quite a clever way. John will take this for a ride here.
Yeah, but unless he made that, you felt that he was match over. Was there a minute left? I suppose he still hasn't left an easy ball on. I keep thinking that all he has to do is pot a couple of balls, but he can't. So it might have to be another delicate one, but we're sort of getting into the position where even if John was to fluke it out of any snooker or make it next shot, all he has to do is avoid the golden duck and he's won the match. As in Jaden won the match. It's the quad. He's made the quad.
He's made it.
Okay, so there is 36, so it is just possible for a reverse clearance, but only just. Essentially, Jaden makes a ball off the break. He's won the match. But how about this? Come on then, was he playing the quad or was he playing the treble? Obviously the double wasn't on.
No. No, he wasn't.
Yeah, I don't think he was either. All he did in the end by playing that terrible positional shot was cost himself about 2 minutes.
And it's the 2 minutes that he really needs right now.
Well, if you're John Rowe, make sure your cue's chalked and get ready to run. We have seen quicker than 36-second reverse clearances.
Yeah, we have. We've seen 10 seconds quicker. Jaden gets a ball and that should ice the match.
Yeah, he actually doesn't have a pot on, but it doesn't matter. Or does he? He might have one at the top of the table. It doesn't matter. He uses your extension. There we go. Run it. Don't play a shot here. Just run it down and you're done.
Oh, let's not get another Dom Cooney situation on our hands, hey, after the drama of last week.
Yeah, he's doing the right thing. Just eyeing up the clock. He does actually have to play a shot, but only, he just has to play one, basically.
Yeah, judged it well. Well played, young man. Jaden Billingham's first Pro Series win comes in his first Pro Series match. A 3-2 victory over the former world champion John Rowe, who will stay out there in the arena. He'll take on Aaron Davies next, and one of those two are going to not be able to qualify after it. Massive match coming up.